Hi everyone, this is Marie Blue Angel, and I'm back with Candied Hearts. Last time we were with Captain Peppermint here, and we're going to see one of the kings. I can't remember which of the kings, but we're at the palace. But we've just passed some mean knights or soldiers or whatever who are like colleagues of Captain Peppermint, and they were really mean. They bullied him. How dare they? So I hope we'll get a little bit more of that in the sense that like we'll get more of the story. Obviously I don't want Captain Peppermint to be bullied anymore, but I wonder how much we'll get to know in the story. So anyways, let's get started back into it so that we can see what happens. As I'm pondering Peppermint's situation, the two of us walk into the castle. Peppermint doesn't try to make small talk with the other guards that we pass, but that doesn't stop them from whispering and staring. Shouldn't they be directing their odd looks at me instead of Peppermint? Why are they more concerned with him than the strange girl roaming the castle halls in her PJs and bunny slippers? We come to a halt at two very large double doors. Peppermint clears his throat. Despite his earlier bubbly demeanor, it seems his castle and the people in it have drained him of his cheerfulness. Oh. We're here. We're here. I don't know what voice. I'll just give my usual masculine voice. We're here. Peppermint turns around, giving me one last look over. He nods, believing that I look presentable enough to show my face in front of the king. For my sake, I hope he's right. I'll be doing most of the talking, Candace. You should only speak when the king addresses you. Otherwise, he may get upset. Why would he get upset? He'll see it as a sign of disrespect for talking out of turn. King Caramel is already rubbing me the wrong way, and I haven't even laid eyes on him yet. Him and his stupid guards. However, not wanting to upset Peppermint any more than he already is, I simply nod and give a tiny salute. Speak when spoken to. Got it, Captain Peppermint. Aw, look at that little shocked face. 'Cause you're happy about it. This apparently catches him off guard as his eyes widen a little bit before he smiles. You know, it feels weird being called by my title, especially by someone who isn't one of my men. But it made you smile, right? Yeah, it did. But moving forward, Peppermint will do just fine. You're not my subordinate, after all. Peppermint's so cute. His voice trails off, but he's still smiling. I quite like the idea of the informality. Alrighty, Peppermint. Peppermint turns his attention back to the double doors and pushes them open, exposing the throne room on the other side. I'm very excited to meet King Caramel also. What drama is going to unfold in the next how many minutes here? Who knows? Let's see. There are a handful of knights standing around, looking more stern than the guards I saw at the gate. Oh. In the middle of the room, sitting on his throne, is a man with lightly tanned skin, a faded red beard and hair, and a lean figure. That's when it clicks for me. Oh, King Caramel. He's the one I traded items with at the seaport to get experience and coins. No wonder I don't remember him all too well. Usually I'm in and out of the seaport so I can move on to my other dailies. King Caramel rolls his eyes when he sees Peppermint walk into the room. However, when he lays his eyes on me, I notice his grip on his throne's armrest tightens. Okay. Geez, I was trading all my valuable goods with this guy? Peppermint walks up to King Caramel and I follow closely behind. The young pink-haired man then kneels down as a sign of respect to his king. I awkwardly copy his movements, almost stumbling forward as I lower to one knee. That's like a good forward lunge there. Father, I found this young woman in the gumdrop forest while I was out patrolling. Wait, hold up. Father? King Caramel is Peppermint's dad. Why didn't he tell me this? I guess he probably glossed over it. But I didn't know. That's your dad? and your dad hates you, and you're in. I don't know. The vibe does not. I don't know what kind of vibe this is.
Before I can question Peppermint about this, he looks up at his father, who is glaring daggers at the both of us now.
Hey, what did I do?
Peppermint's mouth forms a tight line, and he pauses before talking again.
Father?
Peppermint!
Why isn't she handcuffed? You really let an outsider whose intentions are unknown into my castle, my throne room, without restraints? Why are you yelling?
The knights around us come alive and begin to murmur amongst themselves. It's not hard to make out what they're saying.
He seriously brought a stranger to the castle unrestrained? Don't act surprised. Peppermint is always like this. Inaction is practically his middle name. Yet he wants us to take his title of captain seriously.
Silence!
Oh.
King Caramel's outburst causes everyone to immediately shut up. Once the room settles back down to an eerie silence, the king clears his throat.
Let me hear what my son has to say. Go ahead, Peppermint. Tell me, why would you bring a strange girl into my castle without so much as a restraint?
Peppermint rises to his feet. Father, you know I don't like using those. Restraining someone only makes them more irritated. Just last week, a prisoner that Lieutenant Bread Pudding restrained grew agitated and broke out of the cuffs and then attacked him.
Good point.
He's still recovering from the incident.
And you're being very considerate of the so-called prisoner here. Or whatever, yeah. You know the rules, Peppermint. Outsiders can't be trusted, especially when you have to bring them to my attention. They must be handcuffed to guarantee my safety. So you don't care about your son's safety either? I don't like King Caramel. Huh? It's not letting me go. Oh.
Always disappointing me. The king scoffs and Peppermint's eyes glisten, but he remains silent.
Well, quit dawdling. Who is she?
I wasn't able to get much information out of her. I was looking for spies in the Gumdrop Forest, and while I have no proof that she's a spy, she was found in the same location as some of the recent attacks. As Peppermint recounts everything that's happened to this point, my mind can't help but drift off. The pink-haired soldier's voice becoming white noise.
It's so funny. It's like, I'm gonna tune this out. Which fair, but also I'd be so stressed out at this point, to be honest.
My eyes wander to the window, looking towards the free world that lays outside these walls. A world that I wish I could explore to my heart's content. But instead, I'm stuck here. That's when I pick up on something interesting. Sitting on a tall tree covered in vanilla frosting is a purple raven that looks like it's watching me. Oh, it does. I raise my eyebrows, confused, and the bird tilts its head, as if responding to my action. What in the world? Before I can interact with the bird any further, Peppermint's cheery, loud voice manages to bring me back to what's going on. But she technically hasn't done anything wrong since we got here. Well, thanks. Nice save, Peppermint. I roll my eyes at his attempt to keep the peace.
Oh?
You suspect she's a spy? For Lakritz. When he says Lakritz's name, he sounds disgusted, as if the mere mention of the man's name makes him sick to his stomach.
Is he really that bad? We can't have her here in the kingdom, not if she's even remotely connected to Lakritz. Who knows what she could be scheming? We will give her no opportunity to give any information to that criminal. Okay.
Peppermint speaks up in a quiet voice. And what do you suggest we do with her?
For the safety of Sugar Rush Kingdom, I sentence this outsider to the underground prison. I will decide in the morning if she gets executed or not. Wow, that's scary.
My heart drops, and I can feel the whole world around me start to slow down as I process what King Caramel has just said.
Executed? I spent years playing this game, and I don't remember anything this dark. No one has ever been murdered. There.
This is a joke, right? I look at Peppermint, whose eyes are now as large as gumballs. Right? But seeing my companion off to the side doesn't give me any confidence. I'm going to die inside of my favorite video game.
And what for? I didn't even do anything wrong.
Father, please, I beg you to reconsider. Why, if we show mercy now, what would people outside of this kingdom think, Peppermint? What would the crits think? Mercy is a sign of weakness, and I will not appear weak to my people, let alone outsiders who may want to see this kingdom crumble.
You also are not investigating. Like, it's a suspicion that, like, she's associated with the crits, but you don't have any information about that? Really? I mean, Peppermint cites, like, finding her in the Gumdrop Forest, but that's it. That's, like, really nothing. This is really unreasonable.
We'll make sure that Lakritz hears about this. He'll think twice about hurting me. My despair morphs into anger. Without even realizing it, my hands bundle up into fists. This entire time, this guy has been saying, me, me, me. He believes being a paranoid tyrant is better than showing a little mercy to someone who has literally done nothing wrong to him. Things are starting to finally make sense about this town. There was a fear in the townspeople's eyes as we walked past by them, as though they're waiting for their terrified king to find something suspicious about their behavior. My mind wanders to the people who stepped into this throne room before me, perhaps in a similar situation, or came under different circumstances. Were they too sentenced to a cruel, unfair fate? And to what end? To stick it to Lakritz? Frustration begins to bubble up inside me until it's far too much to contain. I need to say something. It may not save me, but I can't stay quiet and accept such a cruel fate.
Okay, maybe showing mercy isn't a sign of weakness? I don't know if telling King Caramel off will really do anything, to be honest. He seems like the type where it doesn't care. But also, I'm gonna say the second one. It just feels right, but...
Showing mercy isn't a sign of weakness. Peppermint's eyes widened at my outburst. Showing mercy is perhaps the strongest thing anyone can do. Peppermint didn't have to be nice to me back in the forest and on our way here. He could have ended my life right then and there, but he chose not to. Instead, he gave me a chance.
That's more than you've done.
Perhaps you can learn a thing or two from him. I look around at the knights around me. All of you could. The king laughs, wiping a tear from his eye.
You fool!
Learn something from Peppermint. Your ignorance is showing, outsider. My son, he's naive. Too kind. King Caramel says that as if it's a bad thing, but I don't think it is. Being kind is a wonderful trait to have.
Also said in the same way, like, being too kind is the same as being Lakritz, which, like, where's your sense of understanding of the world? I mean, I understand where King Caramel's probably coming from, but it's just terrible.
He would spare our enemies if given the chance. He believes in the best of people, all stemming from this strength you call mercy. Mercy will only get you killed. If you don't exterminate the root of the problem, it grows and festers, eventually infecting everyone around it. King Caramel raises his hand and makes a fist, like he's crushing something in his hand, an evil grin displaying on his face. I refuse to be infected, so if killing people allows me to keep living, then so be it. Now, Peppermint, be a good son, and take our talkative prisoner to her cell. She'll realize how merciful I'm being by not ordering her execution at this very moment. I have something else planned for her.
I don't like that either.
King Caramel glances over at Peppermint dubiously. The boy looks down at his feet with a frown. He clearly doesn't want to take me away, and yet he can't disobey his father.
Now!
Did I speak in a different language, Peppermint? I said take our prisoner to her cell. Now. Peppermint, cowering under his father's presence, grabs hold of me. His hands are shaking uncontrollably. Sorry, I have to. He mumbles this close to my ear so his father doesn't hear, and I can't help but feel pity for the sweet boy. We are both victims in this. Ah, I almost forgot. Before you two leave. Peppermint? Yes, father? Handcuff our prisoner so we can ensure she won't escape. Now go on, Peppermint. Prove yourself useful for once. A moment of hesitation passes before I hear Peppermint reach for his handcuffs. They jingle as he unhooks them from his side, crafted in purple and white hard candy. The cuffs look almost brand new, despite Peppermint no doubt getting them some time ago. I'm sorry, Candace. Forgive me. Peppermint murmurs his apology before bounding my hands in the handcuffs, though he makes sure not to do it too tightly, as not to leave marks or bruises on my wrists. I glance over my shoulder at King Caramel with a look of disdain on my face. He looks all too pleased with himself. But that's when I see something else. Or rather, something missing. The raven that was once perched on the tree is gone.
Okay, what's that raven? Maybe it's Lakritz's raven?
I look forward once more and follow Peppermint out of the throne room, a small group of knights carefully watching us as we head towards a set of stairs that no doubt led to the prison below.
Cool. What's gonna happen now?
We arrive at the cell, which, just like everything else in this world, is made of candy. It shouldn't still surprise me. Yet, there's something disconcerting about looking at the bars you're about to be thrown behind and thinking they look mouthwatering. I almost miss Peppermint's small figure as he opens the door to my sugary prison. When I look at him, he refuses to meet my gaze. Here we are. He gestures inside the cell, his voice stiff and robotic. If you wouldn't mind, please enter the cell and turn around so I can remove those handcuffs. I would mind, actually. Oh, well. His voice trails off, and he takes in a deep breath. I promise this will be better in the long run. Trust me, okay? He whispers the last part. As miserable as I am in my own situation, one look at Peppermint's downcast face is enough to take the wind out of my sails. He's got it just as rough as I do. Thank you, Peppermint. I give him my best reassuring smile and step obediently into the cell. He offers a weak smile in return, but that smile soon disappears when he realizes what needs to be done next. Peppermint locks the door from the other side, the keys clinking together in his shaky hands. As the lock clicks into place, the reality of my situation hits me. Before, I might have dreamed of being imprisoned in a sugary cell, but it's like they say, dreams aren't always what they're cracked up to be. The unappetizing walls and floors are carved out of cookies, and rock-hard gumdrops litter the edges of the room. Surrounded by sweets? This should be an absolute treat. But the candy cane bars segregating me from the rest of the world remind me just how far from a sweet tooth's heaven this place truly is. Heaven. That's what I thought this game was. A sanctuary. A safe place where I could escape from the real world. That's the reality I created for myself. A reality that has been shattered into a million pieces by the very thing that I love most. I feel my soul leave my body at the mere thought of Candied hearts being even remotely bad. I love this game. I love its world, its characters, but now that I'm here, I want to disappear. I don't have the guts to finish that thought. With hot tears blurring my vision, I grip the bars tightly for support. My eyes flicker at Peppermint, who isn't able to look at me any longer, his own nerves making themselves known. I think about saying something to break the tension, but I don't know what could make this situation any less awkward. We stand around aimlessly until finally it seems Peppermint can no longer take it and he clears his throat. You know. His brow furrows as he searches for the right words. King Caramel, He... he wasn't always like this. Peppermint. I don't mean to be a jerk, but I seriously have a hard time believing that. No, really. I can't help but wonder why Peppermint is so quick to come to his father's defense. Why does he care if I believe him or not? He used to be a great king, and an even greater dad. I can't believe King Caramel would ever put his son's well-being before his own, or his people's for that matter. However, Peppermint is insistent, so I give in despite my skepticism. We're talking about the same guy, right? The one who wants to make an example out of me? Peppermint nods, his face softening as he recalls a rosier past. Back when Lacritz still lived with us, things were different. Hold up. Lacritz? As in the mortal enemy of the kingdom. I'm really kicking myself for not playing through Peppermint's side stories now. Yeah, he's our enemy now, but he wasn't always. Peppermint fidgets again, this time fiddling with the hem of his collar. Is it like a family drama type of thing? Like, or King Caramel and Lacritz were friends, and now they're not? I think that's interesting. It'll be interesting to see that. The full game, full story. He's actually my brother. My older half-brother. Oh. Queen Sweetroot was his mother. She died tragically when Lacritz was only small. A small boy. Shortly afterwards, the king married my mother, Lady Minty, and well, here I am. He motions to himself with his thumb and gives me a sad, half-hearted smile. I loved our life together with Lacritz. It was just always fun times and smiles.
Aw. So it's family drama is what I'm hearing.
But something changed. We only had 8 years of making happy memories as a family before our father discovered Lacritz was planning and plotting to destroy the kingdom.
Well, that'll do it.
Oh.
Sweet Jesus. There's a lot more going on with this family than I initially thought.
Father exiled him, and even though he was still so young, we just celebrated his 13th, oh my goodness, birthday the night before. And well, Father's never been the same since. None of us have.
13? You were plotting? I mean, you can plot at any age to take over a kingdom, I guess.
Peppermint opens his mouth to say more, but stops himself. His eyes meet mine. They're wavering, but there is passion there, hidden behind the fear. I can't help but wonder what he might be able to achieve if he didn't have to endure the constant torment of his peers and the wrath of his father. I'm sorry, Candace. I really am. I want to help you. I really do, but... He shakes his head, letting his eyes flutter close for a moment. I should say something while I have the chance. What should I ask?
Maybe the second one?
There's something that's been bothering me. It just doesn't make sense. Surely there's a less extreme way to handle things. Why does Lacritz want to destroy the kingdom? Peppermint simply shrugs. I was so young when it happened. I don't know why Lacritz would turn against us like that. I always thought he loved Sugar Rush, so it never made any sense to me. But once Lacritz had been exiled, Father refused to talk to me or anyone else about it.
Well, that's suspicious, because, like, maybe it's a misunderstanding? Or maybe it was, like, your father and, like, Kritz had different ideas about how to run the kingdom, right? Like, and the father was too concerned about what would happen and, like, decided to get rid of him, in a sense.
I've asked him many, many times, but he always shuts me down. I guess I'll never know. Despite being the one behind the candy cane bars, I can't help but feel sorry for Peppermint. There isn't so much I can do from this cell, but I was hoping our departure wouldn't be so somber. You know, you don't have to put up with any of this. Peppermint looks up at me to meet my gaze, tilting his head to the side like a puppy. You're not who they say you are. You're not incompetent, and you're not weak. So what if you hate violence? That doesn't make you a coward. It makes you kind, and that's something to be proud of. Peppermint's eyes eyes glisten, and he stands a little taller than before. Do things your way, Peppermint. No matter what, you'll always be the one who does you best. Oh. Determination flashes across his cherry red eyes. Candace. The sound of footsteps echoes down the corridor as guards pass us by. Peppermint leans closer to the bars, a finger pressed to his lips. I follow suit, leaning in so I can hear his whisper.
I promise.
I'm sorry I got you into this mess, but I promise to make it right. Wait here. I'll be back soon, too. He hesitates, and that's when it dawns on me that it might not be over after all.
Yeah, Peppermint, let's go.
Peppermint, do you have a plan to get me out of here? Peppermint steps back and clears his throat. No, not yet. But I will. Just you wait.
This voice has been all over the place, but I love it.
Before I have a chance to say anything, he waves goodbye and practically skips through the door out of the prison. For the first time since I arrived in this brilliant, multicolored world, I'm alone. After the chaos of my arrival, the silence in this cavernous prison sounds deafening. All I can hear is syrup dripping from a crack in the ceiling. I flop dramatically on the nearest gumdrop rock. It's not as comfortable as it looks.
You know what? If it had a little bed, that would be a lot better for waiting purposes, you know? Or like a nice little chair.
It has the same level of squishiness as that packet of jelly candies I found in the back of my cupboard? Hidden behind a bunch of other snacks forgotten until it was 3 years past its best before date. Peppermint is sweet, but he didn't even have a plan before he left, and who knows how long it will take him to return, or if he'll be able to return at all. I can't sit around and wait to see what happens. I have to take matters into my own hands, otherwise I'm screwed.
I don't think these are candy canes, so that's gonna take a long time.
In order to take in my surroundings fully, I take a few steps back, my footsteps echoing throughout the empty prison. Maybe there's something in here from a past prisoner that I can use? Something that the guards overlooked? Kneeling down, I feel up between the hard but smooth pink frosting that lines the chocolate chip cookie wall at the far left side of the room. As I run my hands along them, carefully making sure I don't miss an inch, my hopes of perhaps finding a secret nail file that could cut down one of the bars begins to diminish. When I investigate the last inch of frosting, I come up empty-handed. It'd be way too convenient, huh? I can't give up. There's still more to this cell that I can check out. Next, I check behind the green and yellow gumdrops, hoping for a key that maybe someone took from a guard and didn't have the chance to use. Nope. Nothing. Zinch squat. I let out a quiet, frustrated sigh. As I'm about to give up hope, I realize there's a place I haven't searched yet. Looking over my shoulder, I stare at the bed with glittering eyes. I put my hands together for a prayer. Please, Candied Hearts, gods, if you can hear me, do me a solid, and let there be something that'll help me get out of this hellhole. If there is, I promise you, I won't ever look at cheat codes again. I'll even eliminate the word cheating from my vocabulary. Amen. Mustering up the courage to face what does, or doesn't lie, underneath, I walk over to the bed. There's no blanket to speak of. Oh, that's nice, it's the bed. Nice. Offering a 5-star experience here, I see. I might actually freeze to death before they potentially put me in a guillotine tomorrow. Ugh. Why is there no blanket? That's not the real concern here, but why is there no blanket? I pick up the pillow, which is a soft and squishy marshmallow. You know, in a different circumstance, I'd be excited about that, but it's hard to focus on anything but my impending doom. There's nothing under the pillow either. Saliva starts to coat the roof of my mouth, and I begin to feel queasy. Getting on my knees, I look under the bed and scan the area, petrified that I will find absolutely nothing but darkness underneath. Huh? A journal. Startled, I barely make out something in the darkness. It's hard to say what it is exactly, given that my only light is the moon and stars peeking through the small cellar window that's just out of my reach above. I extend my hand, my fingers barely scraping the item. After a couple of failed attempts, My fingers manage to drag the item close enough for me to actually grab it. Pulling it out from under the bed, I can finally see what it is. An apricot fruit leather journal caked in dust, with a thin red bookmark stuck in the middle of its pages. Not what I was hoping for. There could be information in this book that could help me escape, but it's probably more likely some kind of depressing diary about a prisoner's last days. Now, I sort of don't want to read it, but there aren't many options here. Sitting on my temporary bed, I open the journal to the first page. Cocoa Day, 1893 A.S. after sugar. I was thrown in here with little care for my well-being. My crime? Speaking out of turn when the king offered to only pay me 200 chocolate coins for my lot of items. I venture far and wide, going from the town to kingdom, meeting all kinds of people during my travels. During my 30-plus years as a merchant, King Caramel is by far the most unpleasant man I've ever had to work with. He always tries to undersell my wares, saying they aren't authentic. For a while, I managed to haggle him back up to a reasonable price. However, this time he refused to go up any further, saying he couldn't afford to. Yet, he was wearing the finest wool and jewelry you would find in the land of sweets. What a crock of jelly beans. I call him out. The price? Being locked away in here for a week. There are murmurs of executions from other cells, but could that seriously be true? Would King Caramel stoop to that kind of animosity? I believe the reason he isn't sentencing me to something much harsher is because of the trouble he would get in with the leaders of the other lands. If I were one of his people, would my fate be different? It's certainly a scary prospect. I flip through the journal, skimming through the different entries until one catches my eye. It mentions the name of a man who dropped me off here earlier, Peppermint. I start at the beginning of the entry. Saturday, 1893 A.S. It's been a few days since I was thrown in here. The cries of the other prisoners makes my stay here almost unbearable. All of them are townsfolk who were also put in here for idiotic reasons. I say almost unbearable, as there is one glimmer of hope in this godforsaken place, the king's son, Peppermint. I've heard about the boy in passing, even seen him a handful of times as a young boy and as an adult. However, I was never able to get a proper read on him until now. Ever since my stay, he has been tending to me, making sure I, as well as the other people here, are well fed and able to sleep comfortably. I remember the third night being particularly frigid. I was shaking uncontrollably, believing that I was to get sick, or worse. Seeing me, he ran upstairs and came back late in the night. He whispered my name and passed a cotton candy quilt through the bars. Aw, Peppermint. The pink quilt was well-made and looked like something you would pay good money for. He's a nice boy, that Peppermint. A glimmer of hope in this cruel, evil kingdom. It's unfortunate that he has to be the product of someone as ruthless as his father. People like him. They don't last long in places like this. His light will soon be extinguished. Oh, people like him. They don't last long in places like this. His light will soon be extinguished. That I have no doubt about, unfortunately. The journal continues on, chronicling until the man's last night here. It seems that Peppermint really made an impression on him. Peppermint, his kindness truly knows no bounds. I didn't know the cells came with a little book. That's awfully nice of the king to offer such a wonderful complimentary item. That's not Peppermint. The unfamiliar voice is the complete opposite of the savior I'm hoping for. This guy sounds much more disquieting, and I don't know what to make of it. Trying to steady my breathing, I quickly shut the book and place it next to me on the bed. Oh, hello. I look up to see who the voice belongs to. A cloaked man steps out from the shadows, his wide-brimmed hat obscuring part of his face. Hello. The first thing I notice is his vibrant mustache. It's the kind I expect a movie villain to twirl right before he ties the leading lady to a set of train tracks. But damn, is it hot? Fair. As he steps into the light, he looks at me with passionate eyes the color of strawberry pop rocks, glinting with glee and a hint of danger. There's something captivating about him that holds my gaze. He walks towards me, slowly and deliberately, the elaborate feather on his hat bouncing softly with each mesmerizing step. Who are you? I don't need to ask. There's only one person he could possibly be, but I asked my question anyway. Besides, he seems like the type to prefer a dramatic entrance. I won't rob him of the opportunity. The man smirks, and I hate how it makes my heart flutter. Pull yourself together, Candace. He's just a man. Just a man in this fictional world, and I love to see it.
Okay, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to stop here for today because, we already got through a lot. I like Peppermint a lot. I hate his father. Need to know more about Lakritz. I don't know who this is, so it's very exciting. I love the dramatic entrance. Sorry, Candace girl, that you're stuck in the bars, in the dungeon, prison, whatever, but you'll get out soon. I'm sure Peppermint will be of help. But we'll have to wait for next time to see who this man exactly is, and also how Peppermint will help, and or if Candace will be able to get out of the prison herself. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already liked the video, please like the video. And if you'd like to see me play the next part of Candied Hearts here on my channel, then please subscribe. I also play other visual novels on the channel, and I generally post Monday through Friday, at least once a day. So if you want more content from me, then please make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye!